they don't really generate great income compared to. I mean, if you have to like take loans to you know, amplify the reward. I don't really like that, so I just buy them in cash, and they don't really generate that much income, and maybe maximum 10% cap rate. And if you buy $1 million in terms of property and 10% 100K and divide by 12 per month, that's a few $1,000s a month. Right now, I would say the best is for traders in terms of passive investment, probably T-bills, because interest rate is pretty high. You can put money in the T-bills, and you can still be able to use the money that you trade. If you need the money, you just sell T-bills, and it's very liquid and very finished back in, and yeah, you should be good to go. So
I like that. And in terms of mentorship, when you started trading, was there any particular mentors that you had? Anyone that you're still in contact with this day, or is it more so sort of a self-taught journey?
It's more of self-taught journey. I'm very good friends with Tinker Townie. We play a lot of video games together, and we don't really talk about trading that much. It's, you know, sometimes he texts me and I ask, you know, what do you think about this ticker? I say, okay, well, probably gonna drop today or tomorrow. But you know, it's nothing very detailed in strategy and statistics. Yeah.
Because one thing that was interesting to me is I remember you mentioning a figure saying, like, you know, the sort of limit a retail trader could probably get to is about 200 million.
Yes, I have, because right now I'm very focused on that, because I'm reaching I would say very soon I'm going to reach that limit. So I'm tracking the maximum shares, maximum profit I can make according to my strategy before my return turns to diminish a lot. And from my performance, I mean, for retail traders, you don't really have to worry about that, because your return really starts to diminish once you hit the 100 million in equity mark. But once you hit 100 million, people can just retire. But personally, for me, I would like to challenge to the maximum. So, of course, there is certain tickers, and not for GME, AMC, that you can size into the billions, but those are exceptions. But for regular tickers, how much volume on that day you have and how much shares you can size in that day, it's very challenging. I'm still testing it, and I'm running into much bigger people, like bigger funds that tends to. Then we play games against each other and trying to counter each other.
So that this like the next level beyond, you know, where the retail independent traders are.
Yes, I mean, maybe they're retail, but typically retail don't really have 700K, 800K in the bid or ask. So, but I think the majority is probably the fund.
And in terms of you at the moment, are you purely just independent, managing your own capital, or are you managing capital for others at all?
No, just for myself.
Just for yourself. Do you think that's something you're going to do in the future?
Probably, yeah.
Is that where the goal sort of leads you in terms of the performance-wise, a new level to break and to achieve? Would be going into that sort of more, you know, capital under management, hedge fund sort of route?
Probably in the future, because, you know, eventually you want to retire. You don't want to trade. I mean, you still want to trade, but not being very active, being all stressful about it, managing, you know, taking multi-million-dollar positions. But going to the future, maybe start a fund, do the track record for a few years, and hire some traders, give them allocations, and maybe that could be a passive income source. We'll see.
Interesting, very interesting. And do you feel like in terms of time horizon with your outlook on the markets, you know, especially coming into this year, we have obviously President Trump coming back in, the traders, you know, all love Trump. You know, last time he was in power, the markets were very volatile. Is that something that you take into consideration? I know obviously we talked about you don't really look at fundamentals, but is that something you take into consideration, him coming into power? And obviously we've seen just in the last maybe 6 months, maybe even 3 months, so many in plays from AI to quantum to so many different things that are just constantly getting volatility and movements.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously S&P last year had, I can't remember the exact number, maybe 17 all-time highs last year.
Yeah.
And then coming into this year, we've actually had quite an interesting dip. Obviously, it's very early on.
Mm-hmm.
What is your projection? What are you looking for? What do you think is going to take place?
To be honest, I think I'm not really sure in terms of macroeconomy. I think in 2025, it's with the tariff and everything and the inflation, I think the market will actually dip quite a bit. Then, once everything is sorted out, we'll come back again. But in terms of volatilities, it's very good for traders, especially for long and short. So, but I think we will have probably a little bit more dip before we go up. My personal opinion, but that's where I think the overall.
I think there's a lot of like hope and optimism with Trump getting elected. We had such huge pushes of cryptocurrency across all markets pretty much. And then do you feel like the general sentiment will be trying to look for, how he performs early on into his sort of presidency, see what he puts in place, especially not only internally within the US but around the world, so much happening there as well. And do you think it'll be based off that performance? Maybe he comes in, does what he said, manages to put it in place so the market starts to price that back in, or he ends up being a bit slow and not being able to sort of implement the stuff, and therefore the market could stagnate and maybe even dip further.
I think you'll probably dip before we go up, especially with the current trend on inflations and the tariff potential.
In terms of your trades, most of them, are they normally within the same day, within a few days? Or are you holding out quite often as well?
No more than 2 days. Just typically it's in 1 day, within 1 day.
Do you feel like as you continue to have your career, start to handle more and more capital as it continues to grow, hopefully, do you feel like that time horizon will expand or stay the same?
I'll say stay the same. I still haven't hit the mark where my return is gonna start to diminish.
And how many trades are you looking at, per, or not looking at, but taking, per sort of week or month?
Per month, sometimes 10, average like 7, 8. Not trading every day, but and there's some months there's only 2 or 3.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it really based on? What's like the main driver to that? Is it volatility? Is there a particular thing that really dictates the number of trades that you're taking?
It's about the pattern. Does it really fit the pattern? Does it really fit the volume I'm looking for? Majority of the time throughout the year, since October to February, it's generally a very good season to trade. Starting in March to September, that's where the boring time is. So majority of the money that was made is between October to, I would say, maximum March.
Would you say that is the case, that as you say, the majority of the money will be made in a shorter period of time? Would you also say that the majority of money would also be made on a fewer amount of tickers, like the same tickers, the same stocks, or does that not really factor in?
I mean, specifically DJT, yes. On that ticker I made stupid amount of money, but I think it was $17-18 million in just on one ticker.
Wow.
But other than that exception, but everything is spread out.
And do you have like a goal figure in mind? I know we talked about that 200 million being sort of where maybe returns can start to diminish. Do you have a figure in mind for yourself where once you reach, you'll be happy, you'll be maybe done with trade, feel like you completed the game?
No, not really. I just love the game. I love to trade, and in terms of figures, not really. I just want to see I'm actually affecting the ticker to give me diminishing return. that makes me quite happy because I achieved that goal.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, for example, let's say, because I mean, in the real world, if we talk about trading, is when you made money, you're essentially taking money from other people. So let's say 10 people bought a ticker, and the maximum paying is probably 30%. So let's say the maximum you can make it's $30,000, and the more share I size in, the less percentage the ticker needs to drop. Now, if I size in too much, the ticker only needs to drop maybe 1% or less than 1%. Then buyers are not even nervous about that. So that's where your return turns to diminish. But I want to see that when I'm trading maybe in $1 billion market cap and I see the returns actually being diminishing by me, then I probably think, okay, well, that's where I want to be. At least that's for the goal for me.
And you know that is that 200 million mark, you think?
I don't think so. That's where I think where it is. But once I'm not there yet. But once I reach there, I'll let you know.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Have you ever shared how much you've actually made in total from the markets?
No.
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 Have you given like a ballpark figure?
No.
No.
No. I mean, I just want to prove that I verified a bunch of one of my accounts in Kinfo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that people under my Twitter and they say, "Oh, it's a fake trader." I'm not. I don't really care about that. It's just there's something for you to see.
Of course.
So.
And I know one way or one interest of yours is gaming. That's one thing you do when you're not on the charts.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's been something that's actually helped you in your trading career in terms of the mindset?
Not all of the games, but StarCraft 2 actually helped a lot in terms of APM, action per minute. You type a lot faster. Back in the days, you borrow shares a lot faster because shares are very hard to get back in the days. And then 3-4 years ago, I'm always faster than other people, so I get all the shares and people don't get any shares. And I will be able to make the trade and make the profit. And also StarCraft is it's always about counter strategies. So when I get into something, I was thinking about what other people are thinking to be able to generate a strategy to counter. That type of mindset has helped a lot. And the engineering mindset about the statistics.
Yeah, you mentioned, yeah.
Speed
is an interesting one because it wasn't something I ever thought about when it came to trading, like actually having an edge when depending on your speed of how fast you can act. Why is that important in terms of being a trader?
Speed, because not right now, but shares back in the days are very limited. Let's say there's 3 million flow, 5 million flow. There's only like maybe 300k shares to borrow. Soon as the market and starts the shares being available, maybe sometimes in 7, 8, you keep clicking, freshing, and you have to type the numbers you want. I'm always faster than them. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but sometimes it is a big deal.
Well, in terms of execution wise, is there times when if you're not fast enough, the market will move without you, and then if you were to enter there, it kind of go against the plan, mess with the statistics?
I don't think that's about the speed. I think everybody has the speed of once the market opens and getting the executions. But the shares will be available probably within 5 seconds or maybe even 2 seconds. So if you do it 0.5 seconds faster, you take all the shares and other people don't, then 50k drops $7, then you make 350k.
In terms of your day, as you said about timing as well, like what times do you trade? Is there particular times that you trade and certain times that you won't trade at all?
Particular time, if there is a very important ticker that's been running for a while, then I will get up right here time zone, probably 4 a.m. Yeah, sometimes even 1 a.m. I made the DJT trade at 1 a.m.
Really?
It was crazy. Majority of the time I wake up about Eastern time is 9:20, 9:15. I give myself right now 10 to 15 minutes to look at the market and make the trade. Back in the days, I have to force myself not to trade in the pre-market, so I wake up at 9:29,
So wake up as late as possible.
late as possible, and then go from there. So
What was it about that particular trade though, 1 a.m., that made you execute then?
DJT,
Mm.
that's when the day he got elected. It gapped up to 50, hitting the resistance.
Mm.
I took, I believe I took, I forgot, like close to 100k shares at 50 and dropped to 40, 41. I cover around 40 to 42 range, bounced back to 46. That's where I pushed in a lot of size. As soon as the market opened, dropped to, I believe it was 36. Yeah, 36, 34.5-ish.
So it was essentially the opportunity was then at that time. So you had to just, if you
Yeah.
wanted to take advantage of it, you had to be there.
Yeah, I had to be there, yes.
It's interesting because a lot of traders, they won't go above and essentially I would class that as going above and beyond, making sure to, even if it's inconvenient, essentially inconvenient to sort of make that happen. It's obviously worth it. The byproduct of it is worth it in terms of the result. But I know a lot of traders, especially in the sort of retail space, I would class them as, I won't say like novices, but in terms of if you're going to compare, and obviously we don't compare traders like that, but what I mean is for where they're at, their skill level, their goal is to be more like yourself or more like the verified 8-figure traders and having that performance, but they won't replicate that work ethic. They won't replicate the things that you guys are willing to do to make those returns. It's kind of similar to how you mentioned near the beginning of the podcast where you talked about you look at people's losses, you look at their processes, you look at their mindsets. It seems like a lot of traders now, especially, I'm sure you might have seen it in terms of when you first started to now, in terms of all the content that's out there, all the different videos and people who are in the markets. It seems now like traders will just like to watch. They just want to watch these videos. They just want to watch a chart breakdown. They just want to see these sort of things, lifestyle videos even, versus going beyond that to learn the processes. So even like with this podcast, we've talked a lot about processes. We've talked a lot about the things that you've done and still do, and even now doing. But a lot of people won't then look to learn from that. They'll just hear it and maybe make notes, but they won't then go try and figure out how can they do something similar to try and excel and grow as a trader as well.
If you really want to be a trader, you can be a good trader. If you don't have the dedication, you won't be. It's very simple. If you really in your heart you like this game and you love this game, you want to be a very good trader on top. Top 1%, top 0.1%, you can be that. So,
has there ever been a trader who inspires you?
At very beginning, Gritani. Yeah, he was the one that I believe made millions when I was 19 years old.
Really?
Yeah. He's the one that I feel real about. When I talk to him, I can hear, and back in this I don't have a chance to talk to him, but when I hear about his videos, I can hear in his voice that he loved this game. He is as real and and every single strategy is focused on thought processes and the psychology behind the pattern. I think it made sense for me. I think that's the first person that I really admire to be a trader. So
amazing. That's amazing to hear. I'm sure. How does it feel to know that you're in that position now, where people look to you in that same way?
Doesn't feel that much. I don't know, it just feels normal. Feels normal. Now I feel like it's people look at me as the best trader out there. I mean, I look at myself as probably the worst trader compared to whatever I designed. I make tons of mistakes. Everybody make mistakes. It's more about patience and more about being able to survive for this long. So
It's interesting you mentioned that actually about mistakes, because I think that a lot of traders have a misconception about profitability. They assume that once you are consistent, once you have your profitability, you're a perfect trader. You may maybe small losses, maybe small mistakes, but never large losses or
Oh
big
no,
mistakes.
no! Everybody make losses. I still make stupid mistakes up to date. So it's.
I'm sure they'll be glad. They'll be glad to hear it. I don't know where. I'm not sure where that comes from. Maybe that's where some of the bad actors, if you will, the ones who aren't actually trading, present a false image, and a lot of people just assume that that's how it should be. Just win, win, win. So it's always good to hear, for you to share something like that, where it's, I still make mistakes, etc. And hopefully people will be able to take that on board. We already talked about obviously what happens when you do make those mistakes, the process you take, and hopefully they'll be able to learn from that and sort of take that on board as well. In terms of like recent trades, like what was a recent trade that you took, and the sort of process and reasoning behind that?
The mistakes.
No, a trade, like a recent trade that you've taken, whether it's a win or a loss. But like something that was recent, maybe your last trade. What
The
was
last trade was Holo.
Holo.
Yeah, made 2.5 million.
Wow.
The thought process behind that is, I believe QBT, because it's all quantum play, and I believe RGTI and QBT are both losing momentum. Then Holo traded a massive amount of shares. I think it was before reaching 8 on the previous day. So there is not enough momentum to support that consolidation spike. So I tested my shares. Size day, I think was beginning shares was 50K. Then slowly, gradually adding, control my risk. I think the risking was 350K. Then once it panics, I added more. I added more shares, I think up to 500K. Then my risk come down to 75% of that entire panic. Then just went all the way to 4. I was not expecting that. So I covered my majority of the shares. Then I resized into the bounces. I think I made 1.8. Then I made another 700 on adding on the bounces, going back down.
Wow.
So that's
was that the start of the year? So this was
no, that's December 31st,
the
last day of the year. Yeah.
Has there not been any trades in this year so far?
This year, let's see what RGTI, yes, RGTI. Most recent was 1.2 million, but I actually took 500K losses on the on 250K on RGTI before I made the 1.2. Then 250K on other tickers.
But those were valid losses.
It was valid losses,
Yeah.
yes. Now maybe RGTI, that one was a little bit stupid, but
What was stupid about it?
sized it too much.
Okay. When you're trading the volume and size that you are, is that why you're having to sort of spread the entries?
Not exactly, no. There's some tickers you have to concentrate your interest, like Cube.